No Epilogue Productions presents The Tempest, a radio play by Mr. William Shakespeare.
We are such stuff as dreams are made on.
Hands down! Man your main capstorm! Up aloft! And man the sear capstorm!
Lady Francesca, what do you here? The storm rages, so we shall be swept overboard. Get thee below deck.
Let the storm blow. I'd rather die seeing the sky than in the dark below.
Up aloft, lads! Come! Reef both topsails! Lady, get below! The sea is no respecter of women. It will take you well as any man.
Watch your tongue, boatswain.
Below, I say, for I shall have my men stow you below.
Bah!
Good. Speak to the mariners, then. Fall to it, yarly, or we run ourselves aground. Bestir! Bestir! Hey, hey, my hearts! Cheerily, cheerily, my hearts! Yar! Yar! Take in the topsail! Tend to the mister's whistle! Oh, if thou burst thy wind, it's room enough!
Good boatswain, have care, where's the master? Play the men!
I play now, keep below!
Where's the master, boatswain?
Do you not hear him? You mar our labor. Keep to your cabins. You do this storm.
Hey, good, be patient.
When the sea is. Hence! What care these roarers for the name of king? 2 cabins. Silence. Trouble us not.
Good, yet remember whom thou hast aboard.
None that I love more than myself. You are a counselor. If you can command these elements to silence and work the peace of the present, we will not hand a rope more. Use your authority. If you cannot, give thanks you've lived so long. Make yourself ready in your cabin for the mischance of the hour, if it's so hap. Cheerily, good hearts. Out of our way, I say.
I have great comfort from this fellow. Methinks he hath no drowning mark upon him. His complexion is perfect gallows. Stand fast, good fate, to his hanging. Make the rope of his destiny our cable, for our own doth little advantage. He be not born to be hanged, our case is miserable.
Down with the topmast! Yah! Lower! Lower! Bring her to thy main course! Plague on all this howling. They are louder than the weather or our office. Oh, yet again. What do you do here? Shall we give o'er and drown? Have you a mind to stink?
Pox on your broken, falling, blasphemous, uncharitable dog!
Work you then!
Anchor! Hang you, horse on this noisemaker! We are less for fear to be drowned than thou art!
I'll warrant him for drowning, though the ship were no stronger than a nutshell, and as leaky as an unstanched wench.
Lay her a hold! A hold! Set her 2 courses off the sea again! Lay her off! Oh, Lord! Her mouths be cold!
The king and prince at prayers. Let's assist them, for our case is at theirs.
Oh, he'll be hanged yet, though every drop of water swear against it and gape at widest to glut him.
Mercy!
Mercy!
Oh, now would I give 1,000 furlongs of sea for an acre of barren ground, long heath, brown furs, anything. The wills above be done, but I would fain die a dry death.
If by your art, my dearest mother, you have put the wild waters in this roar, allay them. The sky, it seems, would pour down stinking pitch, but that the sea, mounting to the welkin's cheek, dashes the fire out. Oh, I have suffered with those that I saw suffer. A brave vessel who had no doubt some noble creature in her, dashed all to pieces. Oh, a cry did knock against my very heart. Poor souls, they perished. Had I been any god of power, I would have sunk the sea within the earth, or ere it should be the good ship so have swallowed and the frauding souls within her.
Be collected. No more amazement. Tell your piteous heart there's no harm done. I have done nothing but in care of thee, my dear one, thee, my daughter, who art ignorant of what thou art, not knowing of whence I am, nor that I am more better than Prospero, mistress of a full poor cell, and thy no greater mother.
More to know did never meddle with my thoughts.
'Tis time I should inform thee farther. Wipe thou thine eyes, have comfort. The dire spectacle of the wreck, which touched the very virtue of compassion in thee, I have with such provision in mine art so safely ordered that there is no soul, no, not so much perdition as an hair betid to any creature in the vessel which thou heardst cry, which thou sawest sink. Sit down, for now must thou farther.
You have often begun to tell me what I am, but stopped and left me to a bootless inquisition, concluding, stay, not yet.
The hour's now come. The very minute bids thee ope thine ear, obey, and be attentive. Canst thou remember a time before we came unto this cell? I do not think thou canst, for then thou wast not out 3 years old.
Certainly I can. 'Tis far off, and rather like a dream than an assurance that my remembrance wants. Had I not 4 or 5 women once that tended me?
Thou hadst, and more, Miranda. But how is it that this lives in thy mind? What seest thou else in the dark, backward and abysm of time? If thou rememberst aught ere thou camest here, how thou camest here thou mayst.
But that I do not.
12 years since, Miranda, 12 years since. Thy mother was the Duchess of Milan and a princess of power.
Are not you my mother?
Thy mother was Duchess of Milan, and thou her only heir, and princess no worse issued.
Oh, the heavens! What foul play had we that we came from thence? Or blessed wast we did?
Both, my girl. By foul play, as thou say'st, were we heaved thence, but blessedly holp hither.
Oh, my heart bleeds to think of the teen that I have turned you to, which is from my remembrance. Please you, farther.
My brother and thy uncle, called Antonio, I pray thee, mark me, that a brother should be so perfidious. He who next thyself of all the world I loved, and to him put the manage of my state, as at that time through all the signories it was the first, and Prospero the prime duchess, being so reputed in dignity, and for the liberal arts without a parallel, those being all my study, the government I cast upon my brother, and to my state grew stranger, being transported and wrapped in secret studies. Thy false uncle... Dost thou attend me?
Yes, most heedfully.
Being once perfected how to grant suits and how to deny them, who to advance and who to trash for overtopping, new created the creatures that were mine, I say, or changed 'em, or else new formed 'em, having both the key of officer and office, set all hearts in the state to what tune pleased his ear, that now he was the ivy which had hid my royal trunk and sucked my verdure out on't. Thou attend'st not.
Oh, good mother, I do.
I pray thee, mark me. I, thus neglecting worldly ends, all dedicated to closeness and the bettering of my mind with that which, but by being so retired, o'erprized all popular rate, in my false brother awaked an evil nature. And my trust, like a good parent, did beget of him a falsehood in its contrary as great as my trust was, which indeed had no limit, a confidence sans bound. He being thus lauded, not only with what my revenue yielded, but what my power might else exact, like one who, having into truth by telling of it, made such a sinner of his memory to credit his own lie, he did believe he was indeed the Duke out of the substitution, and executing the outward face of royalty with all prerogative, hence his ambition growing. Dost thou hear?
Your tale would cure deafness.
To have no screen between this part he played and him he played it for, he needs will be absolute Milan. Me, poor woman, my library was duchy large enough. Of temporal royalties he thinks me now incapable. Confederate, so dry he was for sway, with the King of Naples, to give him annual tribute, do him homage, subject his coronet to his crown, and bend the duchy yet unbowed. Oh, alas, poor Milan, to most ignoble stooping.
Oh, the heavens.
Mark his condition and the event, then tell me if this might be a brother.
I should sin to think but nobly of my grandmother. Good wombs have borne bad sons.
Now the condition, the King of Naples, being an enemy to me, inveterate, hearkens my brother's suit, which was that he, in lieu of the premises of homage, and I know not how much tribute, should presently extirpate me and mine out of the duchy, and confer fair Milan with all the honours on my brother. Whereon a treacherous army levied, one midnight, fated to the purpose, did Antonio open the gates of Milan, and in the dead of darkness the ministers for the purpose hurried thence me and thy crying self.
Alack for pity! I, not remembering how I cried out then, will cry it o'er again. It is a hint that rings my eyes to it.
Hear a little further, and then I'll bring thee to the present business which now's upon us, without the which this story were most impertinent.
Wherefore did they not that hour destroy us?
Well demanded, daughter. My tale provokes that question. Dear, they durst not, so dear the love my people bore me, nor set a mark so bloody on the business, but with colours fairer painted their foul ends. In few, they hurried us aboard a bark, bore us some leagues to sea, where they prepared a rotten carcass of a boat, not rigged, nor tackle, sail, nor mast. The very rats instinctively had quit it. There they hoist us, to cry to the sea that roared to us, to sigh to the winds whose pity, sighing back again, did us but loving wrong.
Alack, what trouble was I then to you?
Oh, a cherubim thou wast that did preserve me. Thou didst smile, infused with a fortitude from heaven, when I have decked the sea with drops full salt, under my burthen groaned, which raised in me an undergoing stomach to bear up against what should ensue.
How came we ashore?
By providence divine. Some food we had, and some fresh water that a noble Neapolitan, Gonazalo, out of his charity, being then appointed master of this design, did give us, with rich garments, linens, stuffs, and necessaries, which since have steadied much. So of his gentleness, knowing I loved my books, he furnished me from mine own library with volumes that I prize above my duchy.
Would I might but ever see that man.
Sit still, and hear the last of our sea sorrow. Here, in this island we arrived, and here have I, thy schoolmistress, made thee more profit than other princesses that can have more time for vainer hours, and tutors not so careful.
Heavens, thank you for it. And now, I pray you, for still 'tis beating in my mind, your reason for raising this sea storm?
Know thus far forth, by accident most strange, bountiful fortune, now my dear lady, hath mine enemies brought to this shore. And by my prescience, I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star, whose influence, if now I court not, but omit, my fortunes will ever after droop. Here, cease more questions. Thou art inclined to sleep. 'Tis a good dullness, and give it way. I know thou canst not choose. Come, away, servant, come. I am ready now. Approach, my Ariel, come.
Oh, hail, great mistress, grave madam, hail! I come to answer thy best pleasure.
Hast thou, spirit, performed to point the tempest that I bade thee?
To every article, I boarded the king's ship, now on the beak, now in the waist, the deck, in every cabin I flamed amazement. Sometimes I divide and burn in many places, on the top mast, the yards, the bowsprit, and I would flame distinctly, then meet and join. Jove's lightnings, the precursors, oh, the dreadful thunderclaps, more momentary and sight outrunning were not. The fire and cracks of sulphurous roaring, the most mighty Neptune seemed to besiege and make his waves tremble, yea, and his dread trident shake.
My brave spirit! Who was so firm, so constant that this coil would not infect his reason?
Not a soul, but felt a fever of the mad and played some tricks of desperation. All but mariners plunged into the foaming brine and quit the vessel. Then, all afire with me, the king's son Ferdinand, with hair upstaring, then, like reeds, not hair, was the first man that leaped, cried, "Hell is empty and all the devils are here!"
Why, that's my spirit! But was not this nigh shore?
Close by, my master.
But are they, Ariel, safe?
Not a hair perished on their sustaining garments, not a blemish, but fresher than before. And, as thou badest me, and troops I have dispersed them about the isle, the king's son have I landed by himself, whom I left cooling with air, with sides in an odd angle of the isle, and sitting, his arms in the sad knot.
Of the king's ship, the mariners, say how thou hast disposed, and all the rest of the fleet.
Safely in the harbor is the king's ship, in the deep nook where once thou callest me up at midnight to fetch dew from the still vexed vermouth. There she's hid, the mariners all under hatches stowed, whom with a charm joined to their suffered labor I have left to sleep. And for the rest of the fleet, which I dispersed, they all have met again and are upon the Mediterranean float, bound sadly home for Naples, supposing that they saw the king's ship wrecked and his great person perished.
Ariel, thy charge exactly is performed, but there's more work. What is the time of the day?
Past the mid-season.
At least 2 glasses. The time twixt 6 and now must by us both be spent most preciously.
Is there more toil? Since thou dost give me pains, let me remember thee what thou hast promised, which is not yet performed me.
How now? Moody? What is thou canst demand?
My liberty.
Before the time be out, no more.
I prithee, remember I have done thee worthy service, told thee no lies, made thee no forsakings, served without or grudge or grumblings. Thou didst promise to bait me a full year.
Dost thou forget from what a torment I did free thee?
No.
Thou dost, and thinks it much to tread the ooze of the salt deep, to run upon the sharp wind of the north, to do me business in the veins of the earth when it is baked with frost.
I do not, ma'am.
Thou liest, malignant thing. Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Hast thou forgot her?
No, ma'am.
I must once in a month recount what thou hast been, which thou forgetst. This damned witch Sycorax, for mischiefs manifold and sorceries terrible to enter human hearing, from our jeer, thou knowst, was banished. For one thing she did, thou would not take her life. Is this not true?
Aye, mistress.
This blue-eyed hag was hither brought with child, and here was left by the sailors. Thou, my slave, as thou reportst thyself, wast then her servant, and, for thou wast a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorred commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee by help of her more potent ministers, and, in her most unmitigable rage, into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike. Then was this island, save for the son that she did litter here, a freckled whelp, hag-born, not honored with a human shape.
Yes, Caliban, her son.
Dull thing, I say so. He, that Caliban, whom I now keep in service. Thou best knowst what torment I did find thee in. Thy groans did make wolves howl and penetrate the breasts of ever angry bears. It was a torment to lay upon the damned, which Sycorax could not again undo. It was mine art, when I arrived and heard thee, that made gape the pine and let thee out.
I thank thee, mistress.
If thou more murmurest, I will rend an oak and peg thee in his knotty entrails till thou hast howled away 12 winters.
Pardon, mistress. I will be correspondent to command and do my spiriting gently.
Do so, and after 2 days I will discharge thee.
That's my noble mistress. What shall I do? Say what? What shall I do?
Go make thyself like a nymph of the sea. Be subject to no sight but thine and mine, invisible to every eyeball else. Go, take this shape, and hither come it. Go hence with diligence. Awake, dear heart, awake. Thou hast slept well. Away.
The strangeness of your story put heaviness in me.
Shake it off. Come on. We'll visit Caliban, my slave, who never yields us kind answer.
'Tis a villain, madam, I do not love to look on.
But as 'tis, we cannot miss him. He does make our fire, fetch in our wood, and serves in offices that profit us. What ho, slave! Caliban! Thou earth, thou speak!
There's wood enough within.
Come forth, I say, there's other business for thee. Come, thou tortoise, when? Thou poisonous slave, got by the devil himself upon thy wicked dam, come forth!
as wicked do as ere my mother brushed with raven's feather from unwholesome fen, drop on you both! A southwest blow on ye, and blister you all o'er!
For this be sure tonight thou shalt have cramps, side stitches that shall pen thy breath up. Urchins shall, for that vast of night, that they may work all exercise on thee. Thou shalt be pinched as thick as honeycomb, each pinch more stinging than bees that made 'em.
I must eat my dinner. This island's mine, by Sycorax my mother, which thou takest from me. For thou camest first, thou strokest me, and madest much of me, which give me water with berries in it, and teach me how to name the bigger light, and how the less that burn by day and night. And then I loved thee, and showed thee all the qualities of the isle, the fresh springs, brine pits, barren place, and fertile. Cursed be I that did so. All the charms of Sycorax, toads, beetles, bats light on you. For I am all the subjects that you have, which first was mine own king. And here you sty me in this hard rock, whilst you do keep from me the rest of the island.
Thou most lying slave, whom stripes may move, not kindness, I have used thee, filth as thou art, with human care, and lodged thee in mine own cell, till thou didst seek to violate the honor of my child.
Oh, would it had been done! Thou didst prevent me. I had peopled else this isle with Calibans.
Horrid slave, which any print of goodness wilt not take, being capable of all ill. I pitied thee, took pains to make thee speak, taught thee each hour one thing or other, when thou didst not, savage, know thine own meaning, but wouldst gabble like a thing most brutish. I endowed thy purposes with words that made them known. But thy vile race, though thou didst learn, how that in it which good natures could not abide to be with. Therefore wast thou deservedly confined into this rock, who hadst deserved more than a prison.
You taught me language, and my profit on't is I know how to curse. The red plague rid you for learning me your language.
Hag seed hence. Fetch us in fuel, and be quick. Thou'rt best to answer other business. Shrugg'st thou, malice? If thou neglect'st or dost unwillingly what I'll command, I will rack thee with old cramps, fill thy bones with aches, make thee roar that beasts shall tremble at thy din.
No, pray thee.
So, slave, hence.
Where should this music be? In the air or the earth? It sounds no more. And sure it waits upon some god of the island. Sitting on a bank, weeping again, the king my father's wreck, this music crept by me upon the waters, allaying both their fury and my passion with its sweet air. Thence have I followed it. Or it hath drawn me, rather. But 'tis gone. No, it begins again.
Of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes. Nothing of him that doth fade, but doth suffer a sea change into something rich and strange. Sea nymphs hourly ring his knell. Hark! Now I hear them. Ding dong bell.
The ditty does remember my drowned father. This is no mortal business, nor no sound that the earth owes. I hear it now above me.
The fringed curtains of thine eye advance, and say what thou seest yond.
What is't? A spirit? Lord, how it looks about. Believe me, madam, it carries a brave form, but 'tis a spirit.
No, girl, it eats and sleeps and hath such senses as we have, such. This gallant which thou seest was in the wreck, and but he's something stained with grief that's beauty's canker, thou mightst call him a goodly person. He hath lost his fellows and strays about to find 'em.
I might call him a thing divine, for nothing natural I ever saw so noble.
It goes on, I see, as my soul prompts it. Spirit, fine spirit, I'll free thee within 2 days for this.
Most sure the goddess on whom these airs attend. Vouchsafe my prayer, may know if you remain upon this island, and that you will some good instruction give how I may bear me here. My prime request, which I do last pronounce, is, oh, you wonder, if you be maid or no.
No wonder, sir, but certainly a maid.
My language, heavens. I am the best of them that speak this speech, were I but where 'tis spoken.
How? The best? Oh, what wert thou if the King of Naples heard thee?
A single thing as I am now that wonders to hear thee speak of Naples. He does hear me, and that he does I weep. Myself am Naples, who with mine eyes never since at ebb beheld the king my father wrecked.
Lack for mercy.
Yes, faith, and all his lords.
At the first sight they have changed eyes. Oh, delicate Ariel, I'll set thee free for this. A word, good sir, I fear you have done yourself some wrong. A word.
Why speaks my mother so ungently? This is the third man that e'er I saw, the first that e'er I sighed for. Pity move my mother to be inclined my way.
Oh, if a virgin, and your affection not gone forth, I'll make you the Queen of Naples.
Soft, sir, one word more. They are both in each other's powers, but this swift business I must uneasy make, lest too light winning make the prize light. One word more, I charge thee, that thou attend me. Thou dost here usurp the name thou owest not, and hast put thyself upon this island as a spy to win it from me, the lord on't.
No, as I am a man.
There's nothing ill can dwell in such a temple. If the ill spirit have so fair a house, good things will strive to dwell with.
Follow me. Speak not you for him, he's a traitor. Come, I'll manacle thy neck and feet together. Sea water shalt thou drink. Thy food shall be the fresh brook mussels, withered roots and husks wherein the acorn cradled. Follow.
No, I will resist such entertainment till mine enemy has more power.
Oh, dear mother, make not too rash a trial of him. For he's gentle and not fearful.
What? I say, my foot, my tutor? Put thy sword up, traitor, who makest a show but darest not strike. Thy conscience is so possessed with guilt. Come from thy ward, for I can here disarm thee with this stick and make thy weapon drop.
Beseech you, mother!
Silence! One word more shall make me chide thee, if not hate thee. What? An advocate for an impostor?
Mother!
Hush! Thou think'st there is no more such shapes as he, having seen but him and Caliban, a foolish wench. To the most of men this is a Caliban, and they to him are angels.
My affections are then most humble. I have no ambition to see a goodlier man.
Come on, obey. Thy nerves are in thy infancy again, and have no vigor in them.
So they are. My spirits, as in a dream, are all bound up. My father's loss, the weakness which I feel, the wreck of all my friends, nor this woman's threats, to whom I am subdued, are but light to me. Might I but through my prison once a day behold this maid, all corners else of the earth let liberty make use of. Space enough have I in such a prison.
Follow me. Hark, what thou else shalt do me. Thou shalt be free as mountain winds, but then exactly do all points of my command.
To the syllable.
Come, follow. Speak not for him.
The sea hath cast us on the rocks and washed us from shore to shore.
Lord Adrian, it seems to me the sea has gently placed us on this lovely island and saved us from the wrath it gave the poor seamen of our ship.
Indeed, we are blessed to be on land, Lady Francesca, to be breathing air instead of briny sea, unlike our poor Prince Ferdinand. His father's grief is extreme. He wishes himself to be with his son.
We must ease his burden. Be quiet now. The others come.
Beseech you, sir, be merry. You have cause, so have we all, of joy. For our escape is much beyond our loss. Our hint of woe is common. Every day some sailor's wife, the masters of some merchant, and the merchant have just our theme of woe. But for the miracle, I mean our preservation, few in millions can speak like us. Then wisely, good sir, weigh our sorrow with our comfort.
Prithee, peace.
He receives comfort like cold porridge.
The visitor will not give him so.
Look, he's winding up the watch of his wit. By and by it will strike.
Sir!
One, tell.
When every grief is entertained that's offered, comes to the entertainer...
$1.
$1 comes to him, indeed. You have spoken truer than you purposed.
You have taken it wiselier than I meant you should.
Therefore, my lord...
Why, what a spendthrift is he of his tongue!
I prithee spare.
Well, I have done. But yet...
He will be talking.
Which of he or Adrian, for a good wager, first begins to crow?
The old cock.
A cockerel.
Done. The wager.
A laughter.
A match.
Though this island seemed to be desert,
So you're babe.
uninhabitable and almost inaccessible.
Yeah.
Yet,
You could not miss it?
it must needs be of subtle, tender, and delicate temperance.
Temperance was a delicate wench.
Aye, and as subtle as he most learnedly delivered.
The air breathes on us here most sweetly.
As if it had lungs, and rotten ones.
Or 'twas perfumed by a fen.
Here is everything advantageous to life.
True, save means to live.
Of that there's none, or little.
How lush and lusty the grass looks, how green.
Ground is indeed tawny.
Oh, with an eye of green on't.
He misses not much.
No, He doth but mistake the truth, totally.
But the rarity of it is, which is indeed almost beyond credit.
As many vouched rarities are.
That our garments, being as they were drenched in the sea, hold notwithstanding their freshness and glosses, being rather new dyed than stained with salt water.
If but one of his pockets could speak, would it not say he lies?
Aye, or very falsely pocket up his report.
Methinks our garments are now as fresh as when we first put them on in Africa, at the marriage of the king's fair daughter Clarabelle, or to the king of Tunis.
Oh, 'twas a sweet marriage, and we prosper well in our return.
Tunis was never graced before with such a paragon to her queen.
Sir, we were talking that our garments seem now as fresh as when we were at Tunis, at the marriage of your daughter, who is now queen.
The rarest that e'er came there.
Is not, sir, my doublet as fresh as the first day I wore it? I mean in a sort.
That sort was well fished for.
When I wore it at your daughter's marriage?
You cram these words into mine ears against the stomach of my sense. Would I have never married my daughter there, for coming thence my son is lost, and in my rate she too, who is so far from Italy removed, I ne'er again shall see her. Oh, thou mine heir of Naples and of Milan, what strange fish hath made his meal on thee?
Sir, he may live. I saw him beat the surges under him, and ride upon their backs. He trod the water, whose enmity he flung aside, and breasted the surge most swoln that met him. His bold head above the contentious waves he kept, and oared himself with his good arms in lusty stroke to the shore, that o'er his wave-worn basis bowed, as stooping to relieve him. I not doubt he came alive to land.
No, he's gone.
Sir, you may thank yourself for this great loss, that would not bless our Europe with your daughter, but rather lose her to an African, where she at least is banished from your eye, who hath cause to wet the grief on it.
Prithee, peace.
You were kneeled to and importuned otherwise by all of us, and the fair soul herself weighed between loathness and obedience, at which end of the beam should bow. We have lost your son, I fear, forever. Milan and Naples have more widows in them of this business-making than we bring men to comfort them. The fault's your own.
So is the dearest of the lost.
My lady Sarafina, the truth you speak doth lack some gentleness, and time to speak it in. You rub the sore when you should bring the plaster.
Very well.
It is foul weather in us all, good sir, when you are cloudy.
Foul weather?
Very foul.
Had I plantation of this isle, my lord,
So it would nettle seed.
Or ducks, or mallows.
and were the king on it, what would I do?
Escape being drunk for want of wine.
In the commonwealth I would by contraries execute all things. For no kind of traffic would I admit, no name of magistrate. Letters should not be known, riches, poverty, and use of service, none. Contract, succession, born, bound of land, tilth, vineyard, none. No use of metal, corn, or wine, or oil, no occupation. All men idle, all, and women too, but innocent and pure. No sovereignty.
Yet he would be king on it.
The latter end of his commonwealth forgets the beginning.
All things in common nature should produce without sweat or endeavor. Treason, felony, sword, pike, knife, gun, or need of any engine would I not have, but nature should bring forth of its own kind all poison, all abundance to feed my innocent people.
No marrying among his subjects.
None, all idle, whores and knaves.
I would with such perfection govern, sir, to excel the golden age.
God save his majesty.
Long live Gonazalo!
And do you mark me, sir?
Prithee, no more. Thou dost talk nothing to me.
I do well believe your highness, and did it to minister occasion to these nobles, who are of such sensible and nimble lungs that they always use to laugh at nothing.
'Twas you we laughed at.
Who in this kind of merry fooling am nothing to you, so you may continue and laugh at nothing still.
What a blow was there given.
And it had not fallen flat long.
You are both of brave metal. You would lift the moon out of her sphere if she would continue in it 5 weeks without changing.
We would so, and then go a bat fowling.
Nay, good my lord, be not angry.
No, I warrant you. I will not adventure my discretion so weakly. Will you laugh me asleep, sir, for I am very heavy.
Go sleep and hear us.
I too grow weary. Francesca already slumbers. I must needs join them.
What? Also soon asleep? I wish my mind would with themselves shut up my thoughts. I find they are inclined to do so.
Please you, sir, do not omit the heavy author of it. It seldom visits sorrow. When it doth, it is a comfort.
We too, my lord, will guard your person while you take your rest and watch your safety.
Thank you. Wondrous. Heavy.
What a strange drowsiness possesses them.
It's the quality of the climate.
Why doth it not then our eyelids sink? I find not myself disposed to sleep.
Nor I. My spirits are nimble. They fell together as by consent. They dropped as by a thunderstroke. What might were these, Sarafina? Oh, what might? No more. And yet methinks I see it in thy face, what thou shouldst be. The occasion speaks to thee, and I, in my strong imagination, see a crown dropping upon thy head.
What? Art thou waking?
Do you not hear me speak?
I do, and surely it is a sleepy language, and thou speakest out of thy sleep. What is it thou didst say? This is a strange repose, to be asleep with eyes wide open, standing, speaking, moving, and yet so fast asleep.
Noble Sarafina, thou lett'st thy fortune sleep, die, rather, wink'st while thou art waking.
Thou dost snore distinctly. There's meaning in thy snores.
I am more serious than my custom. You must be so too, if heed me. Which to do, trebles the oar.
Well, I am standing water.
I'll teach you how to flow.
Do so. To ebb hereditary sloth instructs me.
Oh, if you but knew how you the purpose cherish, while thus you mock it, how in stripping it, you more invest it.
Prithee, say on. The setting of thine eye and cheek proclaim a matter from thee, and a birth indeed, which throws thee much to yield.
Thus, madam, though this lady of weak remembrance, this who shall be of as little memory when she is earthed, has here almost persuaded, for she's a spirit of persuasion, only professes to persuade, the king, his son's alive. 'Tis as impossible that he's undrowned as he that sleeps here swims.
I have no hope that he's undrowned.
Out of that no hope, what great hope have you? No hope in that way is in another way so high a hope that even ambition cannot pierce a wink beyond, but doubt discovery there. Will you grant with me that Ferdinand is drowned?
He's gone.
Then tell me, who's the next heir of Naples?
Claribel.
She that is Queen of Tunis. She that dwells 10 leagues beyond man's life. She that from Naples can have no note, unless the sun were post, the man of the moon's too slow. Till newborn chins be rough and raised well. She that from whom we were all sea swallowed. Though some cast again. And by that destiny to perform an act whereof what's past is prologue. What to come in yours and my discharge.
What stuff is this? How say you? It is true my brother's daughter's Queen of Tunis, so she is heir of Naples. Betwixt which regions there is some space.
A space whose every cubic seems to cry out, how shall that Clarabelle measure us back to Naples? Keep in Tunis, and let Sarafina wake. Say this were death that now has seized them. Why, they were no worse than now they are. There can be that can rule Naples as well as he that sleeps. Lords that can prate as amply and unnecessarily as this Gonazalo. I myself could make a trough as deep as that. Oh, that you bore the mind that I do. What a sleep were this for your advancement. Dost thou understand me?
Methinks I do.
And how does your content tender your own good fortune?
I remember you did supplant your sister Prospero.
True, and look how well my garments sit upon me, much feeter than before. My sister's servants were then my fellows. Now they are my men.
But for your conscience!
Ay, madam, where lies that? If 'twere a Kai would put me to my slipper, but I feel not this deity in my bosom. 20 consciences that stand twixt me and Milan, candied be there and melt ere they molest. Here lies your brother, no better than the earth he lies upon, if he were that which he's now like. That's dead. Whom I, with this obedient steel, 3 inches of it, lay to bed forever, while you, doing thus, to the perpetual wink of an eye, might put this ancient morsel, this Sir Prudence, who should not upbraid our cause. For the rest, well, they'll take suggestions as a cat laps milk. They'll tell the clock to any business that we say befits the hour.
Thy case, dear friend, shall be my precedent. As thou gottst to Milan, I'll come by Naples. Draw thy sword. One stroke shall free thee from the tribute which thou payest. And I, the queen, shall love thee.
Draw together. And when I rear my hand, do you the like to let it fall on Gonazalo.
Oh, but one word.
My mistress, through her art, foresees the danger that you, her friend, are in, and sends me forth. For us her project dies to keep them living. While you here do snoring lie, open-eyed conspiracy, his time doth take, if of life you keep a care. Shake off slumber, and beware. Awake, awake.
Then let us both be sudden.
Now, good angels, preserve the king.
Why, how now? Ho, wake! Why are you drawn? Wherefore this ghastly looking?
What's the matter?
Whilst we stood here securing your repose, even now we heard a hollow burst of bellowing.
Like bulls, or rather lions.
Did not wake you? It struck my ear most terribly.
I heard nothing.
Oh, it was a din to fright a monster's ear, to make an earthquake.
Sure, it was the roar of a whole herd of lions.
Heard you this, Gonazalo?
Upon my honor, sir, I heard a humming, and that a strange one, too, which did awake me. I shaked you, sir, and cried as mine eyes opened, I saw their weapons drawn. There was a noise, that's verily.
It is best we stand our ground, or that we quit this place. Let's draw our weapons.
Lead off this ground, and let's make further search for my poor son.
Heavens keep him from these beasts, for he is sure in the island.
Lead away.
Prospero, my lady, shall know what I have done. So go, king, go safely on to seek thy son.
All the infections that the sun sucks up, from bogs, fens, flats, on Prosper fall, and make her by inch meal a disease. Oh, her spirits hear me, and yet I needs must curse. Oh, but they'll know a pinch, fright me with urchin shows, pitch me in the mire, nor lead me like a firebrand in the dark out of my way, unless she bid 'em. Oh, but for every trifle they are set upon me, sometimes like apes, that mow and chatter at me, and after bite me, oh! And like hedgehogs, which lie tumbling in my barefoot way, and mount their pricks at my footfall, oh! Oh, sometimes I am all wounded with adders, who with cloven tongues do hiss me into madness. Lo! Lo, now, lo! Here comes a spirit of his, and to torment me for bringing wood in slowly. I'll fall flat. Oh, perchance he will not mind me.
He has neither bush nor shrub to bear off any weather at all. Another storm brewing. I hear it sing in the wind. Yon same black cloud, yon huge one, looks like a foul bumber that would shed his liquor. If it should thunder as it did before, I know not where to hide my head. Cloud cannot choose but fall by pailfuls. But what have we here? A man? Or a fish? Dead? Or alive? A fish. He smells like a fish. Ooh, a very ancient and fish-like smell. A kind of not of the newest Port John. Strange fish. Were I in England now, as once I was, and had but this fish painted, not a holiday fool there would give a piece of silver. There would this monster make a man. Any strange beast there makes a man. When they will not give a doit to relieve a lame beggar, they will lazy out 10 to see a dead Indian. Legged like a man and spins like arms. Warm of my truck, I do now let loose my opinion, hold it no longer. This is no fish, but an islander that hath lately suffered by a thunderbolt. Oh, alas, the storm is come again. My best way is to creep under his gabardine. There's no other shelter hereabouts. Misery acquaints a man with strange bedfellows. I will here there shroud till the dregs of the storm be past.
I shall no more to sea, here shall I die ashore. This is a very scurvy tune to sing at a man's funeral. Well, here's my comfort.
Oh, do not torment me, oh!
What have we here? Have we devils here? I have not escaped drowning to be afeard now of your 4 legs, for it hath been said, as proper a man as ever went on 4 legs cannot make him give ground. And it shall be said so again while Stephano breathes its nostrils.
Oh, the spirit torments me out.
She's some monster of the isle with 4 legs who hath got, as I take it, and ate you. Where the devil should he learn our language? I will give him some relief if it be but for that. If I can recover him and keep him tame and get to Naples with him, he's a present for any emperor that ever trod on neat's leather.
Oh, do not torment me, prithee. I'll bring my wood home faster.
He's in his fit now and does not talk after the wisest. He shall taste of my bottle. If he have never drunk wine afore, it will go near to remove his fit. If I can recover him and keep him tame, I will not take too much for him. He shall pay for him that hath him, and that soundly.
Thou dost me yet but little hurt. Oh, thou wilt anon! I know it by thy trembling, and now Prosper works upon thee!
Come on your ways, open your mouth. Here is that which will give language to your cat. Open your mouth. This will shake your shaking, I can tell you, and that soundly. You cannot tell who's your friend. So open your chaps again.
I should know that voice. It should be... But he is drowned. These are devils. Oh, defend me.
4 legs and 2 voices? A most delicate monster. His forward voice now is to speak well of his friend. His backward voice is to utter foul speeches and to detract. If all the wine in my bottle will recover him, I will help his ague. Come in. I will pour some in thy other mouth.
Stephano!
Ah! Doth thy other mouth call me? Mercy, mercy, this is a devil and no monster. I will leave him. I have no long spoon.
Stephano! If thou beest Stephano, touch me and speak to me, for I am Trinculo. Be not afeard, thy good friend Trinculo.
If thou beest Trinculo, come forth! I will pull thee by the lesser legs. If any be Trinculo's legs, these are they. Oh, thou art very Trinculo indeed! How camest thou to be the siege of this moon calf? Can he bend Trinculos?
I took him to be killed with a thunderstroke. But art thou not drowned, Stephano? I hope now thou art not drowned. Is the storm overblown? I hid me under the dead moon calf's gabardine for fear of the storm. And art thou living, Stephano? Oh, Stephano, to Neapolitan escape.
Prithee, do not turn me about. My stomach is not constant.
These be fine things, and if they be not sprites, that's a brave god. And bear celestial liquor, I will kneel to him.
How didst thou escape? How camest thou hither? Swear by this bottle how thou camest hither. I escaped upon a butt of sack which the sailors heaved overboard. By this bottle which I made of the bark of a tree with mine own hands since I was cast ashore.
I'll swear upon that bottle to be thy true subject, for the liquor is not earthly.
Here, swear then how thou escapest.
Swum ashore, man, like a duck. I can swim like a duck, I'll be sworn.
Here, kiss the book. Though thou canst swim like a duck, thou art made like a goose.
Oh, Stephano, hast any more of this?
The whole butt, man. My cellar is on a rock by the seaside where my wine is hid. Oh, how now, moon calf, how does thine ague?
Hast thou not dropped from heaven?
Out of the moon, I do assure thee. I was the man in the moon when time was.
I have seen thee in her, and I do adore thee. Oh, my mistress showed me thee, and thy dog, and thy bush.
Come, where to that, kiss the book. I will furnish it anon with new contents. I swear.
By this good light, this is a very shallow monster. I have feared of him, a very weak monster. The man in the moon, a most credulous monster. Well-drawn monster, in good sooth.
I'll show thee every fertile inch of the island, and I will kiss thy foot. I prithee, be my god?
By this light, a most perfidious and drunken monster. When God's asleep, he'll rob his bottle.
I'll kiss thy foot. I'll swear myself thy subject.
Come on then, down and swear.
I I shall laugh myself to death at this puppy-headed monster. A most scurvy monster. I could find in my heart to beat him, but the poor monster's in drink, an abominable monster.
Show thee the best springs. I'll pluck thee berries. I'll fish for thee, and get thee wood enough. A plague upon that tyrant that I serve. I bear her no more sticks, but follow thee. Oh, thou wondrous man.
A most ridiculous monster to make a wonder of a poor drunkard.
I prithee, let me bring thee where crabs grow, and I, with my long nails, will dig thee pig nuts, show thee a jay's nest, and instruct thee how to snare the nimble marmoset. I'll bring thee to clustering filberts, and sometimes I'll get thee young scammels from the rock. Wilt thou go with me?
I pray thee now, lead the way without any more talking. Trinculo, the king and all our company else being drowned, we will inherit here. Here. There, my bottle. Fellow Trinculo will fill him by and by again.
Farewell, mistress! Farewell! Farewell!
A howling monster! A drunken monster!
No more dams I'll make for fish! No fetching, firing, at requiring, nor scrape trencher, nor wash dish! Ban, Caliban! Has a new master, get a new man! Freedom! Heyday! Heyday! Freedom! Freedom! Heyday! Freedom!
Oh, brave monster, lead the way!
There be some sports are painful, and their labor delight in them sets off. Some kinds of baseness are nobly undergone, and most poor matters point to rich ends. This, my mean task, would be as heavy to me as odious. But the mistress which I serve quickens what's dead and makes my labors pleasures.
Alas now, pray you, work not so hard. I would the lightning had burnt up those logs that you were enjoined to pile. Pray set it down and rest you. When this burns, 'twill weep for having wearied you. My mother is hard at study. Pray now rest yourself. She's safe for these 3 hours.
Oh, most dear mistress, the sun will set before I shall discharge what I must strive to do.
If you'll sit down, I'll bear your logs the while. Pray, give me that. I'll carry it to the pile.
But no, precious creature, I had rather crack my sinews, break my back, than you should such dishonor undergo while I sit lazy by.
It would become me as well as it does you, and I should do it with much more ease, for my goodwill is to it, and yours is against. You look wearily.
No, noble mistress, 'tis fresh morning with me, when you are by at night. I do beseech you, chiefly that I might set it in my prayers. What is your name?
Miranda. Oh, my mother, I have broke your hest to say so.
Admired Miranda. Indeed, the top of admiration, worth what's dearest to the world. Full many a lady I have eyed with best regard, and many a time the harmony of their tongues hath into bondage brought my too diligent ear. For several virtues have I liked several women, never any with so fun soul, but some defect in her did quarrel with the noblest grace she owed and put it to the foil. But you, oh, you, so perfect and so peerless, are created of every creature's best.
I only know one more of my sex. No young woman's face remember, save from my glass mine own. nor have I seen more that I may call men than you, good friend. How features are abroad I am skillless of, but by my modesty, the jewel in my dower, I would not wish any companion in the world but you. Nor can imagination form a shape besides yourself to like of. But I prattle something too wildly, and my mother's precepts I therein do forget.
I am, in my condition, a prince, Miranda. I do think a king. I would, not so, and would no more endure this wooden slavery than to suffer the flesh fly blow my mouth. Hear my soul speak. The very instant that I saw you did my heart fly to your service. There resides to make me slave to it, and for your sake am I this patient log man.
Do you love me?
Oh, heaven, oh earth, bear witness to this sound and crown what I profess with kind event if I speak true. If hollowly, invert whatever best is boded me to mischief. I beyond limit of what all else in the world do love, prize, honor you.
I am a fool to weep at what I am glad of.
Wherefore weep you?
At mine unworthiness, that dare not offer what I desire to give, and much less take what I shall die to want. But this is trifling, and all the more it seeks to hide itself the bigger bulk it shows. Hence bashful cunning, and prompt me plain and holy innocence. I am your wife, if you will marry me. If not, I'll die your maid. To be your fellow, you may deny me, but I'll be your servant whether you will or no.
My mistress, dearest, and I thus humble ever.
My husband, then?
I, with a heart as willing as bondage ere of freedom. Here's my hand.
And mine, with my heart in it. Now farewell till half an hour hence.
A thousand.
Tell not me. When the butt is out, we will drink water, and not a drop before. Therefore, bear up in boredom. Servant monster, drink to me.
Servant monster. The folly of this island. They say there's but 5 upon this isle. We are 3 of them. If the other 2 be brained like us, the state totters.
Servant master, when I bid thee, thy eyes are almost set in thy head.
Where should they be set else? If he were a brave monster indeed, if they were set in his tail.
My man monster hath drowned his tongue in sack. Now for my part, the sea cannot drown me. I swam, ere I could recover the shore, 35 leagues off and on. By this light, thou shalt be my lieutenant, monster, or my standard.
Your lieutenant, if you list. He's no standard.
Will not run, Monsieur Monster.
Nor go neither, but you'll lie like dogs and yet say nothing neither.
Mooncar, speak once in thy life if thou be so good, Mooncar.
How does thy honor? Let me lick thy shoe. I'll not serve him. He's not valiant.
Thou liest, most ignorant monster. I am in case adjustable constable. Why, thou debauched fish, thou was ever there a man a coward at a drunk? So much sack as I today? Wilt thou tell a monster's lie, being but a half a fish and half a monster?
Oh, how he mocks me! Wilt thou let him, my lord?
Lord, quoth he. that a monster be such a natural.
Trinculo! Keep a good tongue in your head. If you prove a mutineer, the next tree. The poor monster's my subject, and he shall not suffer indignity.
Oh, I thank thy noble lord. Wilt thou be pleased to hearken once again to the suit I made to thee?
Mary, will I kneel and repeat it. I will stand, and so shall Trinculo.
As I told thee before, I am subject to a tyrant, a sorcerer that by her cunning hath cheated me of the island.
Thou liest.
Thou liest, thou jesting monkey, thou! I wouldst my valiant master would destroy thee. I do not lie.
Trinculo, if you trouble him any more on his tail, by this hand I will supplant some of your teeth.
Why, I said nothing.
Mum then, and no more. Proceed.
I say, by sorcery she got this isle. From me she got it. If thy greatness will revenge it on her, for I know thou darest, but this thing dare not.
That's most certain.
Thou shalt be lord of it, and I'll serve thee.
How now shall this be compassed? Canst thou bring me to the party?
Yea, my lord. I'll yield thee her asleep, lest thou may knock a nail into her head.
Thou liest. Thou canst not.
What a pied ninny's this? Thou scurvy patch, I do beseech thy greatness, give him blows, and take his bottle from him. When that's gone, he shall drink naught but brine, for I'll not show him where the quick thrushes are.
Trinculo, run into no further danger. Now interrupt the monster one more further, and by this hand I'll turn my mercy out of doors and make a stockfish of thee.
Why, what did I? I did nothing. I'll go farther off.
Didst thou not say he lied?
Thou liest.
Oh, do I so? Take thou that. As you like this, give me the lie another time.
I did not give the lie out of your wits and bearing too. Pox on your bottle, this cannon sack drinking do. Your rain on your monster, and the devil take your fingers.
Now, forward with your tale. Prithee, stand further off.
Beat him enough. After a little time, I'll beat him too.
And farther. Come, proceed.
Why, as I told thee, 'tis a custom with her in the afternoon to sleep. There thou mayst brain her, having first seized her books, or with a log, batter her skull, or point her with a stake, or cut her wizened with thy knife. Oh, remember, first to possess her books, for without them she's but a sot as I am, nor hath one spirit to command. They all do hate her as rootedly as I. Burn but her books. She has brave utensils, for so she calls them, which she has a house she'll deck withal. Oh, and that most deeply to consider is the beauty of her daughter. Oh, she herself calls her a nonpareil. I never saw a woman, but only Sycorax, my dam, and she. But she as far surpasseth Sycorax, as greatest does least.
Is it so brave a lass?
Ay, my lord, she will become thy bed, I warrant, and bring thee forth brave brood.
Monster, I will kill this woman. Her daughter and I will be king and queen, save our graces, and Trinculo and thyself shall be viceroys. Dost thou like the plot, Trinculo?
Excellent.
Give me thy hand. I'm sorry I beat thee, but while thou livest, keep a good tongue in thy head.
Oh, within this half hour will she be asleep. Wilt thou destroy her then?
Aye, on my honor.
This I will tell my mistress.
Oh, thou makest me merry. I am full of pleasure. Oh, let us be jocund. Wilt thou troll the catch you taught me but a while?
At thy request, master, I will do reason, any reason. Come on, Trinculo, let us sing. Flautum,
Flautum,
flautum, scoutum, and flautum. Forty.
God is free. That's not the tune.
What is this say?
This is the tune of our catch, played by the picture of nobody.
If thou beest a man, show thyself in thy likeness. If thou beest the devil, take as thou list.
Oh, forgive me my sins.
He that dies pays all debts. I defy thee. Mercy upon us.
Art thou afeard?
No, monster, not I.
Oh, be not afeard. The isle is full of noises, sounds and sweet airs that give delight and hurt not. Sometimes 1,000 twangling instruments will hum about mine ears, and sometimes voices that if then I had waked after long sleep will make me sleep again. And then in dreaming, the clouds methought would open and show riches ready to drop upon me that, when I waked, I cried to dream again.
This will prove a brave kingdom to me, where I shall have my music for nothing.
When Prospero is destroyed.
That shall be by and by. I remember the story.
The sound is going away. Let's follow it and after do our work.
Lead, monster. We'll follow. I would I could see this taborer. He lays it on.
By your lake, I can go no further, sir. My old bones ache. Here's a maze trod indeed through forthrights and meanders. By your patience, I needs must rest me.
O Lord, I cannot blame thee, who am myself attached with weariness to the dulling of my spirits. Sit down and rest. Even here I will put off my hope and keep it no longer for my flatterer. He is drowned, whom thus we stray to find, and the sea mocks our frustrate search on land. Well, let him go.
I'm right glad that he's so out of hope. Do not, for one repulse, forego the purpose that you've resolved to effect.
Next advantage we will take thoroughly.
Let it be tonight, for now they are pressed with travel. They will not nor cannot use such vigilance as when they are fresh.
I say tonight, no more.
What harmony is this? My good friends, hark!
Marvelous, sweet music.
kind keepers? Heavens! What were
A
these?
living drollery. Now I will believe that there are unicorns, that in Arabia there is one tree, the phoenix's throne, one phoenix at this hour reigning there.
I'll believe both, and what else does what credit come to me, and I'll be sworn 'tis true. Travelers never did lie, though fools at home condemn them.
If in Naples I should report this now, would they believe me? If I should say I saw such islanders, for certes, these are people of the island, who though they are of monstrous shape, yet no, their manners are more gentle, kind, than of our human generation you shall find many, nay, almost any.
Honest Lord, thou hast said well. For some of you there present are worse than devils.
I cannot too much muse such shapes, such gesture, and such sound expressing, although they want the use of tongue, a kind of excellent dumb discourse.
Praise in departing.
They vanish strangely.
No matter, since they have left their viands behind, for we have stomachs. Wilt you please taste of what is here?
Not I.
Oh, faith, sir, you need not fear. When we were boys, who would believe that there were mountaineers, dewlap like bulls, whose throats had hanging at them wallets of flesh? Or that there were such men whose heads stood in their breasts, which now we find each putter out of 5, for one will bring us good warrant of.
I will stand to and feed, although my last. No matter, since I feel the best is past. Sister, my lord the Duke, stand to and do as we.
Are 3 people of sin, whom destiny that hath to instrument this lower world and what is in it. The never-surfeited sea hath caused to belch up here, and on this island where man doth not inhibit. You, mongst men, being most unfit to live, I have made you mad. And even with such like valor, men hang and drown themselves. Fools! I and my fellows are ministers of fate. The elements of whom your swords are tempered may as well wound the loud winds or be mocked at stabs. Kill the still closing waters as diminish one dell that's in my plume. My fellow ministers are like invulnerable. If you could hurt, your swords are now too massy for your strength and will not be uplifted. But remember, for that's my business to you, that you 3 from Milan did supplant good Prospero. Exposed unto the sea which hath requited, she and her innocent child, for which foul deed the powers, delaying, not forgetting, have incensed the seas and shores, yea, all the creatures against your peace. Thee, of thy son, Alonso, they have bereft, and do pronounce by me lingering perdition, worse than any death can be at once, shall step by step attend you and your ways, whose wraths to guard you from, which here in this most desolate isle, else falls upon your heads, is nothing but heart sorrow, and a clear life ensuing.
Bravely the figure of this harpy hast thou performed, my Ariel. A grace it had, devouring. Of my instruction hast thou nothing bated in what thou hadst to say. So, with good life and observation strange, my meaner ministers their several kinds have done. My high charms work, and these mine enemies are all knit up in their distractions. They are now in my power, and in these fits I leave them, while I visit young Ferdinand, whom they suppose is drowned, and his and mine loved darling.
In the name of something holy, sir, Why stand you in this strange stare?
Monstrous. Oh, it is monstrous. Methought the bellows spoke and told me of it. The winds did sing it to me. On the thunder, that deep and dreadful organ pipe pronounced the name of Prosper. It did base my trespass. Oh, therefore my son in the ooze is bedded, and I'll seek him deeper than e'er plummet sounded, and with him there lie mudded.
But one fiend at a time. I'll fight their legions o'er.
I'll be thy second.
All three of them are desperate. Their great guilt, like poison given to work a great time after, now gins to bite the spirits. I do beseech you that are of suppler joints, follow them swiftly, and hinder them from what this ecstasy may now provoke them to.
Follow, I pray you.
Ferdinand, if I have too austerely punished you, your compensation makes amends, for I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live, who once again I tender to thy hand. All thy vexations were but my trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. Here, afore heaven, I ratify this my rich gift. Oh, Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her off, for thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise and make it halt behind her.
I do believe it, against an oracle.
Then as my gift, and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. But if thou dost break her virgin knot before all sanctimonious ceremonies may with full and holy rite be ministered, no sweet aspersion shall the heavens let fall to make this contract grow, but barren hate, sour-eyed disdain, and discord shall bestrew the union of your bed with weeds so loathly that you shall hate it both. Therefore take heed, as Hymen's lamp shall light you.
As I hope for quiet days, fair issue, and long life, with such love as 'tis now, the murkiest den, the most opportune place, the strongest suggestion, our worser genius shall never melt mine honor into lust, to take away the edge of that day's celebration, when I shall think, or Phoebus' steeds are foundered, or knights kept chained below.
Fairly spoke. But look thou be true. Do not give dalliance too much the rein. The strongest oaths are straw to fire in the blood. Be more abstemious, or else good night your vow.
I warrant you, madam, the white, cold, virgin snow upon my heart abates the ardor of my liver.
I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. The minute of their plot is almost come. Ariel, to me!
This is strange. Your mother's in some passion that works her strongly.
Never till this day saw I her touched with anger so distempered.
Oh, you do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. My brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. If you be pleased, retire into my cell, and there repose. A turn or two I'll walk to still my beating mind.
We wish your peace.
Come with a thought, I thank thee, Ariel. Come!
Thy thoughts I cleave to. What's thy pleasure?
Spirit, we must prepare to meet with Caliban.
Aye, my commander. I thought to have told thee of it, but I feared lest I might anger thee.
Say again where thou didst leave these varlets.
At last I left them in the filthy mantled pool, there dancing up to the chins of the foul lake, or stunk their feet.
This was well done, my bird. Thy shape invisible retain thou still. The trumpery in my house, go, bring it hither for stale to catch these thieves.
I go.
A devil, a born devil, on whose nature nurture can never stick, on whom my pains humanely taken, all lost, quite lost. And as with age his body uglier grows, so his mind cankers. I will plague them all, even to roaring. Come, Ariel, hang the garments on this line, quickly, for they come.
Pray you tread softly, that the blind mole may not hear a footfall. We now are near her cell.
Your fairy, which you say is a harmless fairy, has done little better than played the jack with us.
Monster, I do smell all horse piss, at which my nose is in great indignation.
So is mine. Do you hear, monster? If I should take a displeasure against you, look you...
Thou wert but a lost monster.
Oh, good my lord, give me thy favor still. Be patient, for the prize I'll bring thee to shall hoodwink this mischance. Therefore speak softly. All's hushed as midnight yet.
Aye, but to lose our bottles in the pool.
Now, it's not only disgrace and dishonor in that monster, but an infinite loss.
That's more to me than my wetting. Yet this is your harmless fairy, monster.
I will fetch off my bottle, though I be all ears for my labor.
Oh, prithee, my king, be quiet. Seest thou here? This is the mouth of the cell. No noise, and enter. Do that good mischief which may make this island thine own forever, and I thy Caliban, for I thy footlicker.
Give me thy hand. I do begin to have bloody thoughts.
O King Stephano, O peer, O worthy Stephano, look what a wardrobe here is for thee.
Let it alone, thou fool. It is but trash.
Oh, ho, monster. We know what belongs to a frippery. Oh, King Stephano.
Put off that gown, Trinculo. By this hand, I'll have that gown.
Thy grace shall have it.
Oh, the dropsy drowned this fool. What do you mean to dote thus on such luggage? Let's alone, and do the murder first. If she awake, from toe to crown, she'll fill our skins with pinches, make us strange stuff.
Be you quiet, monster. Ahem. Mistress Line, is not this my jerkin? Now is the jerkin, whoop, under the line. Now, jerkin, you are like to lose your hair and prove a bold jerkin.
Do. We steal by line and level, and like your grace.
Thank thee for that jest. Here's a garment for it. Wit shall not go unrewarded while I am king in this country. Steal by line and level is an excellent pass of pay. There's another garment for it.
Monster, come. Put some lime upon your fingers and away with the rest.
I will have none on't. We shall lose our time, and all be turned to barnacles or to apes with foreheads villainous low.
Monster, lay to your fingers. Help to bring this away where my hogshead of wine is, or I'll turn you out of my kingdom. Go to, carry this.
And this.
And this.
And this.
Carry this.
And this.
And this.
Hey, mountain, hey! Fury! Fury! There! Tyrant! There! Hark! Hark! Go charge my goblins that they grind their joints with dry convulsions. Shorten up their sinews with aged cramps. And with more pinch spotted make them than pard or cat of mountain.
They roar!
And be hunted soundly. At this hour lie at my mercy all mine enemies. Shortly shall all my labors end, and thou shalt have the air at freedom. For a little follow, and do me service. Now does my project gather to a head. My charms crack not, my spirits obey, and time goes upright with his carriage. How's the day?
On the 6th hour, at which time, my lady, you said our work should cease.
I did say so, when first I raised this tempest. Say, my spirit, how fares the king and his followers?
Confined together in the same fashion as you gave in charge, just as you left them, ma'am. All prisoners, ma'am, in the line grove which the weather fends yourself, they cannot budge until your release. The king, his brothers, and yours abide all three distracted, and the remainder mourning over them, brimful of sorrow and dismay, but chiefly him that you termed, ma'am, the good Lord Gonazalo. His tears run down his beard like winter's drops from the eaves of reeds. Your charm so strongly works them that if you now beheld them, your affections would become tender.
Dost thou think so, spirit?
Mine would, ma'am, if I were human.
And mine shall. Hast thou, which art but air, a touch, a feeling of their afflictions, and shall not myself, one of their kind, that relish all as sharply passion as they, be kindlier moved than thou art? Though with their high wrongs I am struck to the quick, yet with my nobler reason gainst my fury do I take part. The rarer action is in virtue than in vengeance. They being penitent, the sole drift of my purpose does extend not a frown further. Go, release them, Ariel. My charms I'll break, their senses I'll restore, and they shall be themselves.
I'll fetch them, mistress.
The elves of hills, brooks, standing lakes and groves, and ye that on the sands with printless foot do chase the ebbing Neptune and do fly him when he comes back. You demi-puppets that by moonshine do the green sour ringlets make, whereof the ewe not bites. And you, whose pastime is to make midnight mushrooms that rejoice to hear the solemn curfew, by whose aid, weak masters though ye be, I have bedimmed the noontide sun, called forth the mutinous winds, and twixt the green sea and the azured vault set roaring roar. To the dread rattling thunder have I given fire, and rifted Jove's stout oak with his own bolt. The strong-based promontory have I made shake, and by the spurs plucked up the pine and cedar. Graves at my command have waked their sleepers, oped, and let them forth by my so potent art. But this rough magic I here abjure, and I have required some heavenly music, which even now I do, to work mine end upon their senses that this airy charm is for. I'll break my staff, bury it certain fathoms in the earth, and deeper than did ever plummet sound, I'll drown my book. solemn air, and the best comfort to an unsettled fancy, cure thy brains, now useless, boiled within thy skull. There stand, for you are spell-stopped. Oh, holy Gonazalo, honorable man, mine eyes, even sociable to the show of thine full fellowly drops. While the charm dissolves apace, and as the morning steals upon the night, melting the darkness, so their rising senses begin to chase the ignorant fumes that mantle their clearer reason. Oh, good Gonazalo, my true preserver, and a loyal sir to him you followest, I will pay thy graces home, both in word and deed. Most cruelly didst thou, Alonso, use me and my daughter. Thy brother was a furtherer in the act. Thou art pinched for it now, Sarafina. Flesh and blood, you, brother mine, that entertained ambition, expelled remorse and nature, who with Sarafina, whose inward pinches therefore are most strong, would here have killed your king. I do forgive thee, unnatural though thou art. Their understanding begins to swell, and the approaching tide will shortly fill the reasonable shore that now lies foul and muddy. Not one of them that yet looks on me or would know me. Ariel, fetch me the hat and rapier in my cell. I will discase me, and myself present as I was sometime Milan. Quickly, spirit, thou shalt ere long be free.
Where the beeswax bears dark eye, in a castle fell I lie. There I crouch when owls do cry, on the bat's back do I slide. After summer merrily, merrily, merrily shall I live now, under the blossom that hangs on the bough.
Why, that's my dainty Ariel. I shall miss thee. But yet thou shalt have freedom, so, to the king's ship, invisible as thou art, there shalt thou find the mariners asleep under the hatches, the master and the boatswain being awake, and force them to this place, and presently, I prithee,
I drink the air before me and return, or ere your pulse twice beat.
All torment, trouble, wonder, and amazement inhabits here. Some heavenly power guide us out of this fearful country.
Behold, Sir King, the wronged Duchess of Milan, Prospero. For more assurance that a living princess does now speak to thee, I embrace thy body, and to thee and thy company I bid a hearty welcome.
Whether thou be a she or no, or some enchanted trifle to abuse me, as late I have been, I not know. Thy pulse beats as of flesh and blood, and since I saw thee, the affliction of my mind amends, with which I fear a madness held me. This much crave, as if thy be at all a most strange story. Thy duchy I resign, and do entreat thou pardon me my wrongs. But how should Prospero be living and be here?
First, noble friend, let me embrace thine age, whose honor cannot be measured or confined.
Whether this be or be not, I'll not swear.
You do yet taste some subtleties of the isle that will not let you believe things certain. Welcome, my friends, all, but you too? Were I so minded, I here could pluck his highness' frown upon you and justify you traitors. At this time, I will tell no tales.
The devil speaks in her.
For you, most wicked sir, whom to call brother would even infect my mouth, I do forgive thy rankest fault, all of them, and require my duchy of thee, which, perforce, I know thou must restore.
If thou beest Prospero, give us particulars of thy preservation. How thou hast met us here, who 3 hours since were wrecked upon this shore, where I have lost, how sharp the point of this remembrance is, my dear son Ferdinand.
I am woe for it, sir.
Irreparable is the loss, and patience says it is past her cure.
I rather think you have not sought her help, of whose soft grace for the like loss I have her sovereign aid, and rest myself content.
You the like loss?
As great to me as late, and supportable to make the dear loss, have I means much weaker than you may to call comfort you, for I have lost my daughter.
A daughter? Oh heavens, that they were both living in Naples, the king and queen there, that they were... I wish myself were mudded in that oozy bed where my son lies. Where did you lose your daughter?
In this last tempest. I perceive these lords at this encounter do so much admire that they devour their reason and scarce think their eyes do offices of truth. Their words are natural breath. But howsoe'er you have been justled from your senses, know for certain that I am Prospero, and that very Duchess which was thrust forth of Milan, who most strangely, upon this shore, where you were wrecked, was landed to be the lord on't. No more yet of this, for 'tis a chronicle of day by day, not a relation for a breakfast, nor befitting this first meeting. Welcome, sir. This cell's my court. Here have I few attendants, and subjects none abroad. Pray you, look in. My duchy, since you have given me again, I will requite you with as good a thing, at least bring forth a wonder to content ye as much as me my duchy.
Sweet lord, you play me false.
No, my dearest love, I would not for the world.
Yes, for a score of kingdoms you should wrangle, and I would call it fair play.
If this prove a vision of the island, one dear son shall I twice lose.
A most high miracle.
Though the seas threaten, they are merciful. I have cursed them without cause.
Now all the blessings of a glad father compass thee about. Arise, and say how thou camest here.
Oh, wonder! How many goodly creatures are there here! How beauteous mankind is! Oh, brave new world that hath such people in it!
'Tis new to thee.
What is this maid with whom thou wast at play? Your old acquaintance cannot be but 3 hours. Is she the goddess that has severed us and brought us thus together?
Sir, she is mortal, but by immortal providence, she's mine. I chose her when I could not ask my father for advice, nor thought I had one. She is daughter to this famous Duchess of Milan, of whom so often I have heard renowned, but never saw before, of whom I have received a second life and second parent. This lady makes her to me.
I am hers. But how oddly it will sound that I must ask my child forgiveness.
There, sir, stop. Let us not burthen our remembrance with a heaviness that's gone.
I have inly wept, or should have spoke ere this. Look down, you God, and on this couple drop a blessed crown, for it is you that have chalked forth the way which brought us hither.
I say, Amen, Gonzalo.
Was Milan thrust from Milan that his issue should have become kings of Naples? Oh, rejoice beyond a common joy, and set it down with gold on lasting pillars. In one voyage did Claribel her husband find at Tunis, and Ferdinand her brother found a wife where he himself was lost. Prospero her duchy in a poor isle, and all of us ourselves, when no man was his own.
Give me your hands. Let grief and sorrow still embrace his heart that doth not wish you joy.
Be it so. Amen. Oh, look, sir, there's more of us. I prophesied if a gallows were unlaid, this fellow could not drown. Now blasphemy that swears grace o'erboard, not an oath on shore? Hast thou no mouth by land? What is the news?
The best news is that we have safely found our king and company. The next, our ship, which but 3 glasses since we gave out split, is tight and yare and bravely rigged as when we first put out to sea.
All this service have I done since I went.
My tricksy spirit.
These are not natural events. They strengthen from strange to stranger. Say, how came you hither?
If I did think, sir, if I were well awake, I'd strive to tell you. We were dead of sleep, and how we know not, all clapped under hatches, where, but even now, with strange and several noises of roaring, shrieking, howling, jingling chains, more diversity of sounds, all horrible, we were awaked, straightway at liberty, where we, in all her trim, freshly beheld our royal good and gallant ship, our master capering to eye her, and on a trice, so please you, even in a dream, were we divided from them all, and brought moping hither.
Was it well done?
Bravely, my diligence. Thou shalt be free.
This is as strange a maze as e'er men trod. And there is in this business more than nature was ever conduct of. Some oracle must rectify our knowledge.
Sir, my liege, do not infest your mind with beating on the strangeness of this business. At picked leisure, which shall be shortly, single I'll resolve you, which to you shall seem probable, of every these happened accidents. Till when, be cheerful, and think of each thing well. Come hither, spirit. Set Caliban and his companions free. Untie the spell. How fares, my gracious sir? There are yet missing of your company some few odd lads that you remember not.
Every man shift for all the rest, and let no man take care for himself, for all is but fortune. Coraggio, bully monster, coraggio!
If these be true spies which I wear in my head, here's a goodly sight.
Etebos, these be brave spirits indeed. How fine my mistress is. I am afraid she will chastise me.
What things are these, my lord Adrian? Will money buy 'em?
Very light. One of them is a plain fish, and no doubt marketable.
Mark but the badges of these men, my lords, then say if they be true. This misshapen knave, his mother was a witch, and one so strong that could control the moon, make flows and ebbs, and deal in her command without her power. These 3 have robbed me. And this demi-devil, for he's a bastard one, had plotted with them to take my life. 2 of these fellows you must know and own. This thing of darkness I acknowledge mine.
Oh, I shall be pinched to death.
Is not this Stephano, my drunken butler?
He is drunk now. Where had he wine?
And Trinculo is reeling ripe. Where should they find this grand liquor that hath gelded him? How camest thou in this pickle?
I have been in such a pickle since you saw last that I fear me will never out of my bones. I shall not fear fly blowing.
Why, how now, Stephano?
Touch me not. I am not Stephano, but a crab.
You'd be king of the isle, Sirrah?
I should have been a sore one then.
Oh, this is a strange thing as e'er I looked on.
He is as disproportioned in his manners as in his shape. Go, Sirrah, to my cell. Take with you your companions. As you look to have my pardon, trim it handsomely.
Aye, oh, that I will, and I'll be wise hereafter, and seek for grace. Oh, what a thrice-doubled ass was I, to take this drunkard for a god, and worship this dull fool!
Go to, away! Sir, I invite your highness and your train to my poor cell, where you shall take your rest for this one night, which part of it I'll waste with such discourse as I not doubt shall make it go quick away, the story of my life, and the particular accidents gone by since I came to this isle. And in the morn I'll bring you to your ship, and so to Naples, where I have hoped to see the nuptial of these our dear beloved solemnized, and thence retire me to my Milan, where my every third thought shall be my grave.
I long to hear the story of your life, which must take the ears strangely.
I'll deliver all, and promise you calm seas, auspicious gales, and sails so expeditious that shall catch your royal fleet far off. My Ariel, chick, that is thy charge. Then to the elements be free, and fare thou well. Please you, draw near. Now my charms are all o'erthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here, confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my duchy got, and pardon the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell, but release me from my bands with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails, which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
These are actors, we're all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air, as we are such stuff as dreams are made on.